all hard paper craft. Additional useful tools, yeah. Add in anything, yeah. Just like maybe like a cube, okay. Just for demonstration, okay. So additional useful tools. Just to recap. So we already know move, yeah. Whether it's move the whole thing or just move one surface, one edge, and yeah, always better to keep away from the vertices. Rotate, right? Rotate. Yeah, not that this is what you want to do, but rotate an edge or rotate the surface. Yeah. Then scale. Okay, so they are the ones we know. Then we have extrude, of course, which we also already know, right? We can extrude in different directions. Okay, then we have insert faces, okay? Insert faces, insert, and then move, yeah, to create roof or something like that. Then here we have, this one is a super useful tool, and if you did the truck, maybe you already know it. So here you have this edge, and then you can pull this edge out to make a corner, and then you can make this corner more round, okay? But now this is confusing because now it's scaling more along this edge. That's because we already scaled this cube. Remember, this is originally a cube, so this goes from the cube. So this actually works better if we have if we didn't change the object before, okay? So here we will just add in the cube, yeah? And we just leave it as is, okay? So now we go to the edit mode, and now we can select one edge and make it like this. And then here, if we increase the segments, we will make it round, okay? In the same way, we could also make it round on all sides. Yeah. Make something like this. Or we could also make it more round here, yeah. But you see, then you will have tiny parts here, which later you will not be able to be built as a paper model. So you shouldn't do that too much, okay? But for one edge, it's like, you know, you can have this, and then you can make it round, yeah. And here you can make it as round as you want, because later it will be a round part. But you shouldn't do that if you have the edges in two directions. Okay, then another useful tool. So that was the recap. So now we have another useful tool, which is the loop cut. Okay, so the loop cut, so you always have the loops here, right? So you have different, so you have this like this, and you need to have another one here. Yeah, and this is especially useful if this size is different. Okay, so this size here is different. This size here is different. Okay, so now I have a loop. I want to have an additional one here, yeah? So I can use my loop cut. I'll make a loop cut here. And then I can, of course, use Option on Mac. And so I can I can hold Option on Mac or Alt on PC to always select each of these loops. Okay, so it doesn't work here for some reason. But here I can select this, and it will select the entire loop, as you can see, okay? So, and then I can adjust the size of this loop, okay? Okay, but now I don't want to have it. The problem of the loop cut, it only works in specific positions, okay? So as you can see here, this is the middle. It can only do it in the middle, okay? Then I can do another here, can do another here. Oh, but I don't want to have this here, right? But if I make a loop cut here and then move it, it will already change the path. So I want to have this in another position. So for that, I can use here the edge slide, okay? So the edge slide can move this loop along here without changing the path, okay? So that's very useful. So you want to have the loop cut here, but you can only make it in the middle, right? So you just move it over here with the edge slide, okay? And the edge slide also works for single lines, actually, okay? Then it becomes a vertex slide. Yeah, so it's mostly useful for edges or surfaces, okay? So here actually you can also move this along, okay? So then only that one will be affected, but the lower one will not be affected. Okay. Then the knife, we already know it. Yeah. So yeah, we can cut new lines. Okay. Then of course another thing, let's delete all. And make a new cube. And now we have another thing which we have is here. This is a little bit difficult to control, but this is called a spin tool, and this can actually spin this object around to create new versions. Okay, so this only makes sense if you put the cursor somewhere else. Okay, so you can put the cursor here. You can put the cursor here. Then you select all, and then you can spin around the cursor. Okay. And here you can see, okay, it creates many new instances, okay? So if this is what you want, then you can do it like this. Or you can also reduce the steps here to have, you know, to create them in a circle. This is not really working well. Maybe I need to make the cursor a little bit more away. Okay, I will put a little more away. So select all. And now I can spin this around. You see here to create them in a circle, yeah, and then add more to make the circle longer. Well, okay, so I don't really know what it's useful for. And then smooth, you can forget it because smooth is not useful for paper model. Another one which is useful for paper model is of course here shear. Yeah, if you want to, you can do something like this, right? Okay, this is usually helps here with the center, so you can do something like this or like this. You can share it in all kinds of directions. Actually, I personally think this is not so useful. I think it's actually, if you want to share, it's much easier to use a surface and then move that surface up and down. Okay, then finally one more thing is here is the... Okay, so this is not a tool as such, but so add actually several objects. Okay, several objects, and okay, so I want to look at only one object at a time. Okay. So then I can select this object, I can go here to view, and I can go to local view. And then I will see only this object, okay? Other objects will disappear. So if you wonder where your other objects have gone, then maybe you should see if you maybe in local view, okay? Actually, it even says here local, okay? So you can go back to local view, go back to local view, okay, go back to local view, and then I will see all of them together. And another thing, so here if I'm in edit mode, okay? So if for example, I will delete this, okay? Delete faces. Well, delete faces. Doesn't do it. Okay, so this is open now, right? But I want to close it again. So here I have one tool which is new edge and face from vertices, okay? This is extremely useful, okay? If anything like this happens, then I can do it like this. I can select the faces. And I can say, okay, new edge face from vertices, okay? Or if I want to have a line here across, yeah, I could select two vertices. And then I will say new edge or face from vertices, and I can draw this line across here. Or I can select these three vertices, okay, so these three, and then I will say new edge face from vertices. That will create this one, okay? So this is another thing that is very useful. Yeah, so these are the other useful tools. One final tool, more advanced thing, which is very cool. So you have, you can add a curve. Okay, so you have a Bezier curve, and then you can go here. It will just randomly add the curve. Then you need to go to edit mode, okay? And then in edit mode, you can edit this curve like any vector in Illustrator. Okay, I will delete everything, and then here you have now you have the editing tool, right? So here you have the curve just like in Illustrator. But the problem here is that you are somewhere in space, okay? So it's better to go to any orthographic view. So now I can draw a curve here. Yeah, so if you want to make a Frank Gehry building, yeah, so you can have here, you can have this curve. Okay, close the curve, okay. Wait, okay, so now I have this curve, and it's on the z-axis, okay, right? So now if I go back to object mode, what I can do is I can click this object. Well, I don't know how. So here I can have the right mouse click or two finger click, and then I can convert to mesh. Okay, so it's converting this into mesh. Now if I go into edit mode, oh, this is still curve, so I try again, convert to mesh. Okay, so then here I can adjust it to merge UVs, okay, blah blah blah. Okay, then I go to edit mode, and now you can see that this was converted into mesh. Okay, so now I can select, actually I can select this whole thing with Option or Alt, and then I can extrude it out. No. I can extrude it out to become this kind of shape. Okay. Or I could also do it maybe the better way. So now I have these lines, and I will say vertex, new edge face from vertices. Okay, so now I have this surface. I can use this surface, and then I can scale this out straightly, and I will have this irregular shape. Okay, so that is this tool. Okay, some more useful tools which you can make good use of for your project. Thanks for watching.